Hello, it's nice to talk to you again. I know that our time zone is different, but like my daughter was saying in the last session that it's okay to be awake when everyone is sleeping. That's okay. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, Omar. In my experience, when I deal with my clients, I don't feel that some of them have um, the confidence or the belief within themselves that they can take part, an active part in their self healing, So when I come across that, it makes me think and wonder, um, how would they accept any teachings or any training in awakening? How would they even begin?
Trust is an important factor that I feel that needs to be polished and used as a tool to operate within oneself to do anything. If it's to do even a physical action, we are going through this every day. Without trust, we wouldn't even be breathing. So there is a very deep trust that lies deep within us that we need to stick with life in the body, where breath acts as the string that connects body, which is the physicality, and whatever that is not, which is still part of us beyond the physicality or the body, mind, perception of life. So coming back to understand, I'm getting to the
No,
um,
yeah. I no, because you're saying the physicality of the body. I think that, a lot of people are just that, trapped within the body and in just not looking beyond this physical form. And if there are those that are somewhat awakened or awakening to experience or to know or to grow in information and knowledge of us being outside of this vessel, that we are greater than what we see here. I don't think that many people have that much of a belief, you know, that all of this sounds very strange to them. And if they come in with that mindset, how us as transformational coaches, as healers, how do we even begin to touch their heart to encourage them to believe that this is real, you know, that this is not everything that it is, that there's so much more to this, that we need to elevate. It's like waking up the sleeping.
absolutely. So waking up the sleeping is a very easy work if one chooses to, if one's willingness is total and committed. And this needs to be with oneself first. Once we fix our determination of mind to seek for the truth, it shouldn't change no matter what the outside changes are bringing onto the surface of life. The determination with the mind is the willingness. The determination needs to be the willingness deeply to know the truth. And truth is not out there up in the skies or heavens. Truth is right here. And people, if seeking, people say that. They don't need guidance because they discover it from themselves. But the destination of where we are taking them is not up above the sky into the heavens, but deep into their own heart. Even the thought about being in the heart and being awakened is another matrix, another thought produced by the mind. Because people are always looking for experiences, and the very need for experience is to experience life in a much more wider, different way, through different things, through different practices, different methods, different techniques. Some works for them, some doesn't work for them, and it's very rare that something stays with one. So to become the life itself, the practice is our vision. When we are taking such an initiative to go out into people with what we are experiencing as a part of tools that which can help people to take a break from the lack of trust. Could you? I'm just wanting the people to try, whoever is watching or whoever will watch this, that they need to put the trust at least one time, completely committing to themselves, no matter what happens outside, because to invest a certain period of time in years of lifetime, not so much, but comparing to the span of lifetime, which is human, which is an average of maximum sometimes 60 to 80. Someone rarely goes above 80, and very rare above the 100. But there are people who is. There have been people who have walked. Some did it very consciously, but in some cultures and in some traditions, the culture of living totally was itself in a way of living through rituals, practices, worshipping, devotion, and so on. And that's the trust. The trust of following something, it's itself okay, but to do that task willingly and knowingly is a very different way of living. So religions, rituals, and practices are different designs for different civilizations of human beings that have walked and that will walk and that is now here walking.
Okay. Yeah. As I hear you speak, I take a couple of little notes for things that come to me. And you were talking about this willingness and determination that a person needs to have to, no matter what is going on around them, to keep that commitment to themselves. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, even to myself, even with myself, those are the very same things that are a distraction. The things that are going on around us, the things that are going on in life. There are moments, even, when I do my practices, and my practices are organic, you know, when it
Indeed.
comes to thoughts that are coming in through my mind, I really have to be serious about dismissing many of them. There'll be a distraction on top of maintaining a marriage, maintaining a home, maintaining a business, maintaining children, maintaining the health, right? Because that goes in how I buy my food, what food am I buying, how I ingest this food. That's a lot of balancing before, if I don't put myself first, before I get caught up with all of those things, I lose I lose a sense of myself, as just doing all the tasks that it takes for me to be a human, female, woman, mother, wife, on this planet. That's a lot of work. So when you say to have this willingness and determination, I don't see many people sticking to something that they start. They'll start it and they'll have that willingness and determination maybe for a day, maybe 3 days, maybe for an hour. And then it diminishes and they get caught right back into the same illusion of what life seems to be when there's so much more. So, this willingness and determination has to be practiced, it has to be built upon.
And so to come into the act of being a willing piece of life in itself, it takes certain level of courage.
It does, because even I saw the enrollment. Um, I think you've been posting about your school, the School of Self
Mhm.
Elevation and Transformation. And I've noticed that, with what you have been posting, it talks about the senses, it talks about the only way, out is within. And that's not something that comes easy. First of all, I know that you need to have a certain level of commitment when you enroll in your school and you have different levels. For those that are coming in to start, with those that already have an idea of what it is to have inner awareness and what it is to elevate to your highest self. It's not that we're going to be floating off the ground and levitating when we talk about elevating. We're talking about your inner self. So sometimes, and I'm just saying this because of some of the coaching that I do with my clients. It takes a while to get one person to the place that they have the confidence, that they believe in themselves, to even exercise a willingness to make a commitment, a determined commitment to stick with something all the way through.
It's very simple here. What we are putting forward is we have tried many ways, many methods, and many techniques throughout. For those who are happy and working with it, may they be blessed very well, fine. But very rare to be certain that someone truly experience, truly to be life the way it is, because the moment we stop trusting is the moment we truly stop living.
The moment that we stop trusting in ourselves, or the moment that we stop trusting in source, or the moment that we start trusting that we can actually get out of the hole we dug for ourselves.
It's all one.
All right.
We just have to trust in something that really matters for us.
At least just for now, let me just trust this second, right? Let me just give it what I
That's right.
have, because there's a lot of people at the end of their rope. So they might have one more trust in them, one more, let me, one more time, and that's it.
The process of trust itself is the process of being out of not being trustful, or
Well, trust, yes, yes, but then we also talking about the hardened heart, because once the heart is hardened, it's hard to trust anyone, and it could get hardened for so many reasons. you know um It could be, and I could only speak about my personal experience. It could be that I'm praying, 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 to get well again, and I'm not getting well. It could be I trust, this person that I fell in love with, let's say my first true love or my first true love experience, however many relationships I might have had before that. I'm talking about the one that really touches my heart. And then I get betrayed, so that hardens my heart right there. So I won't trust another person. Or the failure and the dysfunction of some certain family structures raises children up to have a hardened heart. So they already start off with not trusting. So if they already come into a space of not trusting, where do they begin?
This is a very deep question that which you ask now. It's a very deep, complicated question. I might need a few minutes to completely go into it because I feel it's important to explain this. If I have your permission, I
No,
would like to.
absolutely, absolutely. Because in order to get inside, you have to have an open heart. If the heart is hardened, you have to go in like a sculptor with a chisel. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, what I would choose to suggest here is heart, trust, faith, belief. It's all one. It's all one. It's the different tools that which we can use as energies, thoughts, emotions, and feelings that which we are blessed with to be in life. Now, to understand deeply about why the heart is not opening, they can be understood in many ways. At one level, this could be traumas, fear, arrogance, anger. Where is it coming from? Experiences. Where does this experience lies in the past? We can think of some, we have forgotten some, and there are much more that still exist within us even before we were born into this phase of life that which we are. We can call it past life or before life, whatever. But we have been there even before this body happened to us. If we were not there, this will never happen to us. So there is only happening. It's a chain of action. It's not a new creation. It was all one, expressing in different ways. Animals, birds, microorganisms, worms, birds or human beings, or whatever that which is within it and outside of it, other beings. The cosmos is so vast and huge, and human beings are very, very important part of the creation. And if there needs to be a very deep activity to be happened beyond the knowledge of human understanding, there is a very important necessity for anything, or when I say anything, it could be ourself. And when I say ourself, we need to know how much ourself we are in the body and beyond the body. But for to go beyond the body, there needs to be a very efficient and strong foundation within the body and mind system. We cannot force someone to swim in a deep ocean. We can't ask someone to jump into a deep ocean if they have not trained themselves to survive in a flowing river or a lake. So the first idea is to train them to swim or surf on the waves of life, and that needs a very deep understanding in the dimension of body, because body is a tool. Body is a creative tool that's given by the source to us for that limitless part of us to be walking on this planet as humans. The most biggest confusion that's happening is we are all trying to be spiritual. but we forget to understand that we were spiritual beings sent down to the planet. When I say down, we are at a certain level. So there is no necessity of explaining up or down. It's for the understanding. We were sent as this beautiful creation of human beings. And when we say we have above and below, in that space, we stay somewhere. So, in that space, to be walking on this planet is why we are as humans. So, we don't have to be trying to be spiritual. The whole game is about opening the heart. So, we are on planet to open our heart, and there is no other purpose. And to live, we need the basic necessities of life, which is very important. It's not that the spiritual will happen without um, the basic necessities to be taken care of: food, water, shelter, financial freedom. But it's also important from where this comes from, because if it's not coming from a growing source, it will just remain as a loop. So, yes, when it comes to the space of mind, it needs to be very well trained. Body and mind needs to be trained to be disciplined. Why? Because without training the mind and body to have a strong foundation, mind is a shapeless, formless, limitless being to be taken into consideration, as rather than just calling it a mind, because it's doing thousands of activities every moment. But is it doing with our knowing, or if it's doing on its own, is the question. So when it's doing on its own, we don't know what's happening in our life, because we have set a very powerful, very strong gift that's been given to us as an infinite tool which has different dimensions. When we say about mind, there are four dimensions which is considered in yogic science and technology of understanding the mind. In English, there are conscious, subconscious, superconscious, or cosmic conscious, and much more beyond. And in other deep ancient knowledge that's coming from, there are seven layers of mind. So it's been, because mind is one. You have a mind, I have mind, I have a body, you have a body. So what we have is same, but the experiences that which we have perceived through our senses, consciously and unconsciously, has created the experience of what is mind in this moment. So it's a mixture of all this, to be precise, in this lifetime, before, or wherever it is. Mind was there because it's this limitless stuff. So it when it comes to the higher level of collective consciousness, what happens is we can even carry traumas from other people through daily exchanges, through living with someone, through having uh, sexual relationships, multiple things. There are multiple things of exchanging different layers of things, because when we are in a space of each other with whoever it is very important to understand about the energy dimension. Without understanding the space of body and mind, nobody can go to the dimension of energy. Understand? How do we understand the body and mind? Is to bring it back into its natural state, and that is discipline. Discipline is not losing the freedom. People often are scared of discipline, because we are programmed with fear of being disciplined. In school, we needed to be disciplined. At family, we need to be disciplined. Everywhere, discipline is such a fearful term, but the truth about discipline is you know where you are in your body and in your mind. And freedom, without this knowing, there is no freedom. We are seeking outward freedom, but until you are free from within, where you know what you are doing, where you understand, or at least you know that you don't understand. At least we must be disciplined into this state. That's also a big trap, because in the cravings for experience, people create as many experiences as They can, because the human mind cannot survive the way it is now in many people without experiences. They cannot simply be free of experiences. So the idea is not to create experiences, but the idea is to not create experiences, but to experience life itself, which is the biggest experience.
Just to be present with life.
Yes. So to be free from experience is also important to experience life the way it is happening. You know, uh,
So when you say these things, I come to wonder, is this the time for knowledge? I see so many, trainings and classes and, so many coaches, so many, I don't know. I just see everything popping up, spiritual this, power stone, crystals that, meditate, manifest, um, do this position, yoga, so many different types of yoga. There's just so much spring. Is this the time for knowledge? And what kind of knowledge? I mean, do we have enough knowledge? Is this the time for it?
now, knowledge, the time now that is of arrogance. Arrogance is considered as knowledge now. To be arrogant, to be ignorant. And ignorance has been turned out into acceptance. I'm, I'm laughing at this because of the beauty of illusion. Because arrogance itself has turned as knowledge and ignorance as acceptance. And from this acceptance of ignorance that's happening is where people are seeking knowledge too. And when you say, when you were mentioning um, about heart being sealed, I call it heart being sealed because for me, it's personally, yes, it's important to break the heart open or let it open. Um, the seal of heart is a design that's imposed upon human through their disbelief, lack of trust, fear, arrogance. And that is a higher design of illusion to create these emotions in human beings so that either they do not grow higher, and that gap of growing higher is the gap and space where we can call the dark energies or spirits feed upon, or anything, anything of lower frequencies that wants to manifest through human beings, taking human beings as the captives. I understand when there are thousands of spiritual leaders, spellcasters, and healers and things happening at this moment. I'm not telling it's good or bad. It's not me, up to who is to decide that. Everything has a design. So everything needs to be flowing the way it is flowing. Our work is to do the work that we do. But I know from my understanding, certain things are very clear. Life has its own way. Life has a very basic form. Life is fair. Life is not unfair to anyone. We are unfair, and when we are unfair to ourselves, we project that from life. And then we say life is unfair. We can't blame life. Everything that which we have is life, the body, the mind. The very life that we are living now in existence is itself a gift of life. So, to keep the heart sealed from experiencing this gift of life is a design from different dimensions of life, which we call as thoughts, emotions, traumas, was caused by these very tools that which were truly our gifts. And when we know how to operate them, and we did not need trainings for this, but we moved so far beyond from our state of being of absolute presence and conscious with life has turned out into arrogance and ignorance with all these thousands of years of actions and activities that we are doing and experiencing and causing to one's each other and to oneself because of our lack of self knowledge. Self knowledge is about knowing what's life within and outside, nothing more than that. It's not easy for an arrogant mind, but for a mind that truly has determined to understand, trust is not a hard thing. Arrogance can make people always deviate, and it's not even in their control. Arrogance is not coming from human control. We give ourselves away from truths, and that time we are being taken by things that needs to take off us as a tool to do their actions. Some call it ghosts, some call it spirits, some call it devil, demons, or whatever people call it. Because I know one thing, that we are not here alone. That's for sure.
I agree with you. I agree that we are not here alone. And when you're talking about that, it is other things, whatever other people call them. I wanted to talk about just, it made me think about two things. I want to talk about two things. Um, First, I want to talk about a little bit more about the heart and love. Okay. And then in this part that you just said about it could be other things. I also want to know if we can talk about, I call them power stones. A lot of people call them crystals, as far as keeping this close to me so it can keep other things away. I've considered those to be tools as well, from what my limited understanding of it was and what I've been exposed to from, you know, family or friends. And so I'm going to touch the first part about love. The hardened heart. If the heart is hardened or closed or sealed, as you say, it doesn't leave much space for love. And you say all of these things are the same, and it's simple. So like I said, I can only speak for me. I think that some people need to be trained in how to offer love. you know I think that that's a training, and I think that that's all connected to having a hardened heart or a sealed heart. It doesn't allow any space for that. You talk about arrogance. In that space, to me, also needs to be included some kind of betrayal of some kind, whether the person betrayed themselves or they were betrayed by others, that lead to this condition of a hardened heart or sealed heart that isn't receptive to love, nor can offer love. What do you think about this statement and my questions that I'm having around this?
As we said, hardened heart happens. Do not let the light enter your heart. And I say light as the truth or life. People needs to be aware of themselves, of the state which they are. And that cannot happen through self-help. Because I was talking to someone and there was a discussion about a psychologist and a mental health expert. And we were having this discussion in which we were asking each other to find, it was a funny discussion. Like, it was some A mad person never knows that he's mad. You understand?
Yes.
So people see and feel that they are perfectly right. They are awake and all. They have reached the state. There needs to be a helping hand, which is true.
Hmm.
And that's why we are all here to help each other walk home safe. So when you have already went to, for example, if you already have traveled from New York to California, if I'm coming, I'm not there, I have not been to US. I need not discover how I go to California from New York. I can ask you, or you can share with me. I don't need to do this adventure, and I can experience the path with my presence. But people wants to discover how I go, and they want to use their own help. So what the point that I'm trying to say is people are arrogant and ignorant from help or sharing something. When it's truly from knowledge, they are so reluctant by the design in itself and ignorance. And this needs to be solved. This needs to be solved. We need to be able to listen to each other. So when we were talking about this, we were asking is there a method to know that
I'm losing you. You're, you're, you're coming in and out. I just lost you.
yeah, so I was sharing that
Okay, there you go.
we were the the question was that we were asking the doctor if the doctor is himself aware that if he is not insane, and we were asking is there a method to know that. So he agreed that there is no way that I know that I'm sane. So this is about self-help. We need, that's why two people needs, that's why human beings are made in pairs, and that's what love is. It's not about telling you are insane, but it's about reminding each other, you know, reminding each other. That's love. There is nothing called love. First of all, love is the biggest lie. Love is only the state of life. Love is absolutely the state of life. Reminding each other without being accused of, creating the dramas of fight and anger and disbelief and all these things. We need to be elevating and shifting together as a piece of life. What's wrong in this? This is my question. Why are we so reluctant to grow? When somebody tell you this is what is it, you want to experience it on your own, no bad in that. But when it's coming from love and clarity and light, have the heart to receive it is to have a heart which is not sealed. And to break the seal, we need to train our mind and body to be disciplined. That's why it's not to write a new story in your life, but it's to awaken from within. That you write the stories that you want to write rather than letting somebody else to write or something else to take charge of you in your life and to design its design. So when the discipline with mind, body, and energies are in our awareness when it's happening, there is no excuse about it. There is no excuse about not being present to these things because if we are not present to these things, there is no life. There is no life.
So when we're not present, are we actually walking around sleepwalking, or I can't hear you?
Help them.
What was that you said?
Am I okay? The arrogance and ignorance in people it can disappear. It cannot go by process. It can disappear when they accept they need to unlock their heart. And whatever is ignoring is the mind ignoring the voice of heart. Because we are purposefully choosing to not control the mind.
We
Because
are
mind is
purposely
supposed to
choosing
be,
not to control the mind.
yes, because there is nothing called controlling the mind. And we are choosing not to control it because we are actually trying to control it. And there is no control of mind. This is a bit rhyming, but the point is this, that the mind is always ignorant to the heart. So whenever there is someone approaching from heart, if a mind is absolutely ignorant, a heart can never penetrate through the walls of mind. Mind needs to be surrendered, and that tool to make the mind surrender to the heart is love. And yes, if love does not exist with the ignorance and all these features, let's share some love. Let us share some love with the world. And
Absolutely.
in that very sharing, if their heart can open. And love is knowledge. Sharing the most powerful tool that somebody can, the most valuable thing that somebody can give to someone is knowledge. We are offering that out of love, out of love for the life within, the life outside, in everyone, in every being.
That's beautifully said.
And
That's beautifully said. Because what the pictures that came to my mind is we share this knowledge and we share it with love. And if those out there have a hardened heart or a sealed heart, all they have to do is give that one chance of trust to even open or let a crack open the size of a mustard seed. Just have a small little belief. And once that love can get in and the knowledge can take hold, that's when the true inner awakening can begin and the
absolutely,
light can come through.
absolutely, because the whole this is not easy. The first thing people needs to understand from us is that the work is not easy because there are things needed to be done to develop something that really elevates someone from the experience of life which they live from now to an expanded, to a deeper and complete. Is the processes of
It's tough.
completing.
The assignment is big, and the work is tough. And I'm chuckling and I'm giggling as I say that because it took me a while to get the clients that I have.
Because one important thing is it's when it's hard and when it's not easy, the make it the idea is to completely make it interesting and inspiring, to make it really interesting.
Of course.
And there is the flow of people, like when it's not interesting for them, so it needs to be interesting because they need to experience every moment that they are in the process, that they are capable of having this process within themselves as a tool to experience every moment of their life, which they need to experience right during the process, not after the process.
Right.
So the idea is to give an experience, to experiment that happens in the moment through the designs of masters chosen from a line of ancient wisdom that has not been ever corrupted, because we cannot say I'm the creator of knowledge. No, knowledge is here, and they have been given to people who knew how to protect it.
Right.
Because we need to be good guardians, we need to be protectors, we need to know how much to give and how much not to give. All of these are important, and that's why when you said there are different layers of processes, I have worked on it for some time, and it's been designed into 4 layers. The basic one to start with, in training the mind, body, and energies, and to
Mhm.
have a deeper understanding of the self knowledge about the whole process is um, happening in the inner awakening process. The inner self awakening program is given in 7 different uh, setups for people, and it's happening both online and offline. Who can access it offline, we have a space they can enroll and register to us.
Okay.
And to make this easy, this process easy for people to enroll is what we can do. And to make them be committed.
Okay.
uh, then when we divide it into different levels, is about making sure that they are ready to jump in the ocean. We need to take them from the swimming pools to train, and once they are trained in the pools, we can give them a safety jacket and assist them to jump into the water.
Your volume left again.
Now check.
Now, yeah,
Am I there?
to get them out of the safety, the put on a safety jacket, get them out of the pool, and prepare them to go into the ocean.
And move them to the river. Yeah, and we have different pools and oceans and rivers to pass. So the whole design of the program is uh, made as inner self awakening program, which trains them to be certain with their mind, body, energies, tools of life that which we have, and how to use them that way that they can create these gifts as their own tool, which are thoughts, emotions, energies, body, everything. Because everything is a tool if we know how to use them. If not,
Right. And it's and
we
it
are there
it'll be
to
it'll be difficult if you don't know how to use them. And when we were
absolutely.
talking
And that's
about before that this is not something that's easy. And what I was going to share with you was when I didn't have the clients that I had before.
yeah,
The clients that do come to you are the ones that I call to you, that the message
absolutely.
resonates with them. And it's once again, it's not easy, but it's doable. It's hard, but it's not impossible. And like like I mentioned before, when I talk to my clients, I let them know this, that there's an investment that occurs, there's an exchange that happens. Not only are you receiving this knowledge with love, not only are you receiving the support, that's offered with connecting with other people that are going on this journey, right, with you into their inner self. The investment and the exchange is important because the work that you do as the educator, as the transformational coach, as the healer is also not an easy one as well. So when we start this journey, what does, because I know I had a session with you, and I want to get into, what does this offering that you have, what does that look like, and what's it an investment? But I do want to talk a little bit, about the entry level, the beginning. I believe that I'm one of your early students, a beginner. I'm just testing one of your ponds, one of your pools. And I took some notes down so I can stay on track because it was an amazing experience for me. um I believe that we did something with the frequency of sound and an energy exchange. And it was more, I felt more in tune with myself afterwards. So for anybody that might be watching in now or catch us on the replay, can you explain a little bit of how I connected with you and this first level that I entered into, that I feel just strengthened me, You know what I mean? And gave me a little bit more clarity to where I am in life.
This is a question that I truly need to ask you, or you need to ask yourself. How do I know?
Right.
Well, I can share about this session that happened between us.
Yeah, but don't give too much, you know. Don't give too much because it's experiential. You know, people have to experience that for themselves. And I understand in being, you know, the work that I do, everybody's experience is different.
You need to. You're talking about letting people experience it by themselves.
They have
That's
to
a
experience for themselves. I'm going to share a little bit because, you know, me, right? I don't know if it's a part of my own arrogance. I believe that I am awakened, and not that I'm completely awakened, but that I am in a process of awakening. To me, it's not over until it's over, whatever it is. So it's a continuous process of awakening and reaching different levels. To what level I am in, I don't know. Everything that I do is organic. I'm surrounded in the forest. I don't have too many contact with people person to person. Most of my work is virtual now these days for the past 3 years. And I, you know, I just feel that when I came across that session with you, that I know nothing and that there's more to there's more to go. There's more to learn. There's more to grow, you know?
We are always sharing a lot of knowledge. I can say that there happened wonderful exchanges that your being wanted to receive through this process. That's what happened. And I'm happy to be a tool to transmit it to you. And very briefly, what happened was a very quick journey through the inner self awakening process and moving on to the verge of our next higher level program, which is called Akabanisa. I know, I feel like I need to repeat this name once again. Akabanisa. A
Akaban.
K A Banisa. Akabanisa. Um, this is a pool with a different wave of current in it. It's a different river. It's a bit different ocean. And to reach this space, we need to go through training our captains for the ships to fly through. We need to train our mind, our body, our energies to not lose its balance when the waves are strong. Because if we choose to just stay in the pool, it's fine. But if we need to, which is better, to swim in the pool or to go into the nature, into the river, or to swim in the ocean? This is the choice. If people wants to swim in the pool, okay, fine, no problem. But if they want to really experience the depth of the ocean of life, then this is the journey about. We have another layer after Akabanisa, which is called Burak. Burak is a crystallization form, I call it, to transmit your being of particle existence, which is your body identity, into another form of waves and light, which is your energy in different levels. So once people go through Burak, we have our stage of perfection. Stage of perfection. There is nothing perfect, but perfection is a very beautiful way to experience and share this. The journey from perfection needs a proper light in you. So that light is not being given from us. You have the light. We are just banging it open, but with love, in a very safer environment. And that's what we have to offer. And the final stage in this process, we have different other programs.
Right.
In this process, the final stage is Miraj. Miraj is the willingness of absolutely choosing to be that piece of life who you truly are and wants to be willingly, to experience life in its absolute. And this is a completely different stage where, it's again the choice. Let people, one thing is for sure, the taste of life, we can't stop tasting it once we start tasting it. We cannot stop tasting it. So, yes, we start with inner self awakening, going to Akabanisa, and there is an initiation through the, what we call it, initiation using the wave of love as energies into people's heart, where they choose themselves if they want to be committed and not fight against the line of life, the flow of life. Because every time we ignore and we become arrogant, we are creating a big barrier for the wave of life to serve through us. We get stuck. We create constructs, we create ideas, we create thoughts and stories in such a way we get stuck in them, where life energies start rotating only in that space, where life has frozen. So we remove these blockages, we take them beyond these blockages of energies, traumas, and everything happens in inner self awakening before they move into a kabanisa. So once they are free from their frictions, we can call it like, to elevate, we need to be free of frictions, and frictions are these traumas, pains, fears, and all these things that people carry within them. I feel it's time to drop all these things. Drop. And that's a choice. That's again a choice. We are there to help, to tell you that there is nothing that you need to be worried about. And let's talk about it in a very beautiful way. And I can challenge people
I lost you again.
there to stay. I challenge people, if they know what's truly happening, if they can go through the process, if they truly get to understand whatever the pain or sorrow or trauma or all these things that's been so much stuck in them, which is blocking the life energies. The challenge is if they can still stay in their traumas,
Wow.
if they go through the process, I'm sure that they cannot stay there. They have no excuse. So if the journey is to take this out of this space, yes, absolutely. And the initiation is to ensure they themselves have chosen and committed to the path of their heart.
Right.
If they have the willingness, which is the electric charge, to bulb their heart, we have the transformer to connect. We have that circuit channel, and that's inner awakening. So once they are ready to bulb, we are totally present with them on every levels. Um, when you were asking me about your experience, it was a stage in between inner awakening and Kabaniza, and while you were going through the initiation, uh, that experience that which you are sharing is basically that.
And it was a very interesting experience, and I thank you for that. And for
You're
anyone
very
else,
much welcome for that.
thank you. And anyone else that has caught our broadcast, we at the top of our hour. So if you also want to experience the work of metaphysical healing, search out School of Self Elevation and Transformation with founder, transformational coach, and healer Omar. Thank you so much for your time. We do know we've been playing the tick on the bottom where everyone can go to register. They could also find your school on Facebook, find it on Instagram. If anyone has any questions or concerns, he can be reached at Gmail, School of Self Elevation at gmail.com. And you'll be hearing more from us in our conversations. We always dive deep into the inner awakening of ourselves to the highest being. Thank you so much.